Ladies and gentlemen, New York basketball has gotten to some new heights as they reach the NBA Finals, sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, it is, well, at least the first half of the finals have been set. In a pretty convincing fashion, the Cleveland Cavaliers get eliminated from the NBA playoffs, and the New York Knicks advance into the NBA Finals. Now, as you guys are well aware, if you've been watching this channel for any remote time, I normally make my Cleveland Cavaliers gets eliminated shorts, and I'll do that as well. But my goodness, this is the NBA Finals, and I have a lot to say in relation to the New York Knicks. I'm so impressed with what they've done in the East. And look, any team that makes the NBA Finals has a genuine chance of winning it. I don't care if they lost 2-0 to the Thunder, 2-0 to the Spurs. I don't know what their outcomes were against those teams. But you saw it with how the Pacers played when they made it to the finals. Any team that makes the finals has a chance. And the one thing about the Knicks that I've truly looked at and truly been impressed with is their offensive game has just taken a new level this playoff series. It is almost unbelievable how good offensively they have been. When you talk about the Knicks, you talk about what they do defensively. You know, I guess that's sort of the reputation they built with a guy like Tom Thibodeau for the past few seasons, obviously before letting him go. They've always been a defensive-minded team that's going to make things a dogfight to win games. But this playoff series has kind of transformed them into a team that you feel like you can't stop. You know what I mean? It's been incredible. So let's talk about the New York Knicks making the NBA Finals. I'm almost certain that New York Knicks fans are going absolutely crazy across the streets of New York. Again, in many ways, toxic. In other ways, they made the NBA Finals. Good job. Well done. Like, that's crazy. You should be very, very happy with that. So let's talk about it in this video. Before we do, if you like the video, feel free to like and subscribe if you are new. And let me know what you guys think about the New York Knicks making it to the NBA Finals. I can't remember the last time this happened. I mean, let's search it up. When was the last time they made an NBA Finals? It must have been, they won a championship in the 70s. I know that, like 71, 72. Season and whatnot. So, I mean, it says 2026. Prior to the recent run, the franchise has not reached the championship series since 1999, when they made a historic playoff run as an 8th seed, but lost to the San Antonio Spurs. Okay. Well, firstly, I did not know that. So that's a big accomplishment in of itself. The 8th seed making the NBA Finals is a very rare thing. I'm also out of frame. But 2026, and you know what? The Spurs are still there. So that could be a little bit of an interesting matchup if the Spurs win in their series against the Thunder. But look, this isn't about lining up the matchups at the moment. This is really about talking about what Cleveland will need to do to address the situation here, but also giving the respect to the Knicks that they deserve. They had one of the worst losses, I think, personally, for an organization last year in the NBA playoffs. You know, I think they just we expected so much from them last year, and they disappointed. Very similar to what Detroit did this year, losing in the second round. The Knicks, we expected better from them last year, and it just didn't really happen. So I respect how much hustle and how much drive they brought to this playoff series this year. A team with a little bit of extra years together, a little bit extra time together, a year together. A team that has built and formulated this chemistry for several years now. A team that knows how to win. A team that does everything it needs to do. A team that sacrifices for each other. A team that has good team chemistry as well. As much banter as Josh Hart and Brunson can give to each other. They're clearly the best of friends out there. They just absolutely like being around each other. They absolutely like playing for each other. And you can tell that on the court. Winning in New York is no easy feat. Their fans are insane. And I mean this in sometimes a negative way, but mostly in a positive way. They are crazy passionate about what happens in New York. So going there, being a New York Knick, and suffering sometimes the criticism of that, especially the last few years when they were losing a lot of games, Stephen A. Smith constantly ridiculing them on TV. And obviously the fans doing the same out on the court as well, and outside the arenas and everything like that. To now experience this moment, that's what you live for in sports. You gotta experience the worst times, the bad times, the times that you don't want to be a fan, the times that you want to give up on your team. You absolutely need to go through those times so you can celebrate, remember, look back on, and potentially have an historic moment, an historic memory in your mind on a season like this one and future seasons to come. Because that's where it's heading for the Knicks. The first time in the finals since 1999. Fun fact, I wasn't born the last time the New York Knicks made the finals. I was born in 1999, but I was born in July. So again, 1 month or so away from when the Knicks made the NBA finals. So that's how long it's been, 26 years. So, yes, you got to remember moments like this. Do not take this for granted. I would say to the New York Knicks fans, even if you do lose in the NBA Finals, and I'm not going to say that you are, because your offense this time around is game changing. And I genuinely don't know what to believe when it comes to the NBA Finals. But even if you don't win it, please, I'm begging you to remember these moments because they don't come around often and you got to take advantage of it now. That New York Knicks team needs to make this series, the next series, win or lose, they got to make it memorable. They got to go down or they got to go up swinging. Whatever it is, if they're going to win the ring, they got to win the ring with all the fight they have. And if they're going to go down, they got to go down with all the fight they have. But make it memorable. This is a memorable time to be a New York Knicks fan. And then moving on to Cleveland. Look, I think Cleveland overachieved this year. And ultimately, they faced a New York Knicks team with an offense that's undeniable. It's as simple as that. No defense in the league. I mean, Cleveland are a very good defensive team. Detroit are a very good defensive team. Atlanta are a very good defensive team. And the Knicks offense has destroyed every single one of them. Cleveland, this series, was held to 104 points, 93 points in game 2, 108 points in game 3, and 93 points in game 4. In the sweep, the Knicks held the Cleveland Cavaliers, who has James Harden, Donovan Mitchell on their team. Evan Mobley's a very formidable threat. A whole bunch of three-point shooters as well on their team. And they held them down to below 110 points each and every single game, which is sort of league average these days. 110 points is considered a good game. It's fantastic. It's genuinely fantastic. That's where you got to give credit to the Knicks. And to Cleveland, what you need to address, it's tough because your team I think your team overachieved this year. I mean, you beat Detroit in the second round in game 7, and you made it look easy in game 7 as well. I feel like it's minor things for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got better this year compared to last year. James Harden's clearly made a big difference. If it was up to me, I think they need to find more shooting than what they already have. And that's hard to say because they are a team that do like to shoot the three. Maybe they should try to rotate their lineups a little bit more. I think playing big every single game isn't always the answer. I mean, against the Knicks with Karl-Anthony Towns and a guy like Mitchell Robinson, I mean, it still didn't work, but, you know, you could kind of understand trying to match it up a little bit. But I feel like the Knicks just had the matchup advantages. And maybe for Cleveland, it is about finding some sort of lineup, some sort of matchup that can go against the grain and make it a little bit less predictable out there. That would be my advice to Cleveland. But ultimately, again, I know Cleveland James Harden's a little bit older, and that makes sense. You know, I don't know how much time he'll play with Cleveland, but Mobley's still really young. Jared Allen is kind of in his prime years. Donovan Mitchell is still in his prime years. Like, this team can still grow together. I wouldn't call it quits on this team yet. Bench options, more three-point shooting. I think they have a chance to be better than next year as well. I wouldn't put it past the Cleveland Cavaliers to kind of be within the top 4 in the Eastern Conference next year, but it is what it is. They did have a little bit of a disappointing regular season, but they made up for it in the playoffs. So fair play to Cleveland. Again, it can't be your year every year. You had some pretty good runs with LeBron on the team. But yeah, just minor changes, and I think Cleveland will probably be back in the situation, and maybe the story will be different next year. But for the Knicks, man, ever since game 4 against the Atlanta Hawks, their offense has just reached new heights. A defensive team known to be one of the best defensive teams in the second half of the year. Some of these scoring games, not all of them have been pretty. Again, look at this. There was, after game 3 where Atlanta led, the Knicks had 114 points, 126 points, 140 points against the Hawks, 137 points against the Philadelphia 76ers in game 1. They had 144 points in game 4 against the Philadelphia 76ers, 115 points against the Cavs, 121 points against the Cavs in game 3. They're locked in on the offensive end. So whoever meets them in the NBA Finals, the Spurs are one of the best defensive teams in the league. The Oklahoma City Thunder, team-orientated defense, is one of the best in the league. It's going to be really nice to see what ends up winning, defense or offense. And these two teams, whoever the Knicks face, will be a very good defensive team as well. The Knicks are a good defensive team. So I'm interested to see how on earth they're going to slow down the New York Knicks on offense. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion with how they're playing in the playoffs, because the East was so wide open. No one predicted that the Knicks would just have an easy run to the NBA Finals. No one predicted that. Boston was still there. Philadelphia, when they won in Game 7, people gave Philly a genuine shot. Cleveland, Detroit, like these teams were still here. But the Knicks dominated the East. They dominated the East. So I can't sit here and say it's a foregone conclusion whoever goes out west will win, because I don't think they've seen, none of the offense out in the West has been as good as the Knicks out in the East. And maybe that is a conference difference, the quality difference. I have no idea. But that's the beauty of the NBA Finals. We're going to find out. We're going to find out just what it means. We're going to find out if the Knicks offense is just too good to handle in any conference. We're going to find out. That's what I'm excited about. Congratulations to the Knicks, man. I mean, your basketball is genuinely fun to watch, even if I don't necessarily agree with just how crazy your fans are and constantly swearing at every player under the sun. But your team is ridiculously fun to watch. I had a great time watching the New York Knicks in the playoffs this year. That's all I'm going to say. And I'll leave it on that note. Have a wonderful and safe day, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.